Good morning. It's time for Comics and Coffee with Cliff. I've got Rich from FillABoxComics.
Good morning, comic book fans.
And it's Saturday morning. We're actually going. It's great.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. Sunday morning? Yeah, Sunday.
It's Sunday, bro.
Right. It's Sunday. Of course it is. The days of the week aren't blurring together for me.
It's all good. I remember Cliff messaged me on Instagram. He sent me a link to this, and it was scheduled for Saturday. I'm like, we're doing this on Sunday. He's like, what do you mean Sunday? I'm like, yeah.
I was like, let me go back and check. And then it's so funny because you're like, you sent me the screenshot. I'm like, I already went back and looked and embarrassed myself already. I already looked.
You know, it was funny because we were trying to stream and we were in the wrong day, and I was trying to join the chat, and it was giving me errors. I should have clicked something in my head that something's up, but I just was like, maybe there's a problem with YouTube because, you know, YouTube is not perfect. StreamYard's not perfect, but we're here. We're happy to be here and talk some comics on a Sunday morning.
I'm always happy to be here and talking comic books. I vaguely recall crossing paths with you at CliffCon, and then I was like, and then I watched your video. I was like, wait a second. I was like, I know this person somehow.
I was looking to him like, did I meet him somewhere? It was CliffCon.
Yeah, it was CliffCon because, you know, so I'll tell you something funny because this all comes back to Lunch Money Comics. The very first time I went to the 3 Men in the Basement comic book swap, right? As I'm getting there, Mike is right in front of me, right? And I was like, oh my God, you're Lunch Money Comics. He's like, you can call me Mike. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you know, I'm Cliff. And he goes, oh, another Cliff? I said, I'm sorry, another Cliff? Like, that isn't, when you are Cliff, that is not something you hear, much less in the comic book community. He goes, yeah, the other Cliff should be here. He's like, there's like at least two or three other Cliffs. I'm like, yeah. So all day I was shopping, buying raffle tickets, and like, who is the other Cliff? Where are they? Right? Looking all around, right? So nothing. So then I add CliffCon on Instagram, until finally there was a show coming up, and I was like, that's it, I'm going. And it was one of the shows in the hotel, so it was very nice. And I stormed right in. I was like, where's Cliff?
Oh, the Bristol one. Yeah, that's his big one. They do that once a year in December. So yeah, that's the big one to go to for CliffCon.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I guess it is. But I swear I've been to 2 in 1 year there, because he did one where it was like the weekend. He did one where there was an evening in the hotel.
Yes. So sometimes they will run that twice a year. Usually it's once. So for those in New England, CliffCon is the last Sunday of every month in Plainville. Occasionally it's in Enfield. The one coming up this month is in Enfield. I'll be there, by the way. Cheap plug. He won't. He'll be in Puerto Rico. But the Bristol one's the big one.
It's so funny. I'm like, look at me. I'm like, yeah, I'll be in Puerto Rico. Like, I hope I come back nice and olive. I'm like, I hope something. I'm just going to perform my nephew's wedding. We're just gonna have a good time. You know, maybe I'll learn to relax. Maybe I'll read a book. You know, who knows?
Find some cool comics in Puerto Rico. You never know.
Listen, if that small miracle happens, that'd be great. I did make a list of stores in case I get near one, but you know, I won't have a car when we're there. I'm just at the mercy of the wedding. You know, it looks like for the Collector P. Good morning, and Tacoma. Hey, too early. Oh, stop it, Tacoma. Just drink some coffee for your hangover.
Or some fruit punch, because that's what I got. Nothing more manly than fruit punch in an Avengers water bottle.
Whatever, do you, everybody? Do you in a world full of crap? Do you? I'm so tired of everything. I wake up in the morning, and even though I have clawed and cultivated my algorithm to be just hot men in comic books, I will still wake up to something that upsets me. And I'm like, I told you, algorithm. I told you. Stop showing me the real world and how awful it is. Right. And then it does, you know.
Stop telling me the Giants stink every morning. I know. It's my football
team. Are you kidding? That would be the least of my problems. The other day, I was like genuinely upset about something, like real serious. Hey, Brian, good morning. I was like really upset about something, like legit serious upset. And someone's like, yeah, you know, my team, the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, must be nice. I was like, must be nice.
So, Cliff, I don't know if you're aware. This is actually FillABoxComics is my second YouTube channel.
You mentioned that because I think you said you started with what did you start with?
So I've actually had numerous channels in the last 20 years, but my current first channel is TSR Sports, which I started in 2019, where I primarily covered the San Antonio Spurs, and I dabble into the Giants and the Yankees. But the team's performance not only affects my mood watching the team. The last 6 years they were a losing team. They're finally winning this year, but the last 6 years, not only as a fan am I watching them lose, as a content creator, it hurts the channel, because if they're losing, a couple years ago they lost 18 games in a row, people aren't as interested. Nobody wants to talk about their team losing 18 games in a row. I sure as heck don't. I have to because I'm the content creator, but it was some rough times. The team has turned a corner and it's been a lot of fun. And now the little achievement I unlocked as a YouTube content creator with the first channel being monetized back in 2019, but FillABox just got monetized a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? I don't do this for the money. It's for fun, but it feels like a little pin. Like, you know what? I did a little something on YouTube, even though I'm a small needle in a massive, what's turned into a humongous needle stack, where it was just people like us making content. Now you got ESPN, CNN, all the networks put up content all the time. So there's a huge pull out there. But I know
doesn't ESPN have like 38 channels and each one of them has their own YouTube?
Probably.
I'm exaggerating, but it feels that way.
Haystack, not needle stack, a haystack. It's Sunday morning. I'm not quite awake yet. Leave me alone. Area 51 is here.
Good morning. Needle in a haystack.
Needle in a haystack.
Ricky
okay, so that's a subscriber from my sports channel. What's Good Morning Stingray. So I used to play characters. Ricky Lombardo was an angry Giants fan, and he swore a lot, which I try not to swear anymore on the channels. And then Ron Jimbo was an arrogant know-it-all that actually knew nothing.
That's a lot of people I know. Okay, It's not a lot of people I know. It's a good percentage of people I know. I might be related to one of those people. So that was a good intro on who Rich is at FillABoxComics, which now brings us to the FillABox part. Do you remember your very first FillABox experience? And was it good, bad? Did you misjudge what was happening?
I do. So I believe my first FillABox experience was at A Hero's Legacy in Manchester, Connecticut. RIP A Hero's Legacy. They went out of business a year and a half or 2 years ago. And I saw the advertisement. It was fill a diamond box with comic books.
Oh.
Any comics $10 or less, and the box would be $50. I was like, shoot, any comics $10 or less. So I remember filling that box up, and I'd done a lot of FillABox sales at Hero's Legacy, but I think that also hurt them because people then are buying comics at normal price. They're waiting for their big sales. So that was the first one. It went well. And then the one I've probably filled the most at, and if you guys are in New England, you're going to know this name, Brickhouse Comics and Collectibles in Meriden, Connecticut. James runs a FillABox sale, or runs a sale every 2 weeks in his warehouse and does FillABox sales. And that's probably the one I bought from the most. And it's one of those things where, do I buy a lot of comics I don't need? Maybe. But because of FillABox sales, a big example is I was able to get Preacher pretty much like around issue 5 through 6. The last issue was 66 or 67. And a dollar book FillABox for like $40. So, I mean, didn't really just get those, but I got a bunch of other stuff. And the FillABox sales introduced me to new titles that maybe I wouldn't otherwise pick up. And I read Preacher last year, and I liked it.
That's really great. My last FillABox experience was at Terrificon, and it was FillABox for $75.
I saw that sale. I was on my way out.
Yeah, that was Very Gary was doing it, and Very Gary's father was the one, Big Gary, was the one pushing. He's like, there's still room in the box, Cliff. Keep going, And
always. Always. Here's a tip to you guys.
Yeah, but
if you're doing a FillABox sale,
I'm the type of person, I don't want to crowd it so much that I'm gonna damage something that I really love in there. So I'm like, no, this is a good stopping point. This is a good stop. It's tight. We're good.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, Arnold Schwarzenegger when you hear the crunch, you're there. That Total Recall reference. You don't want to hear the books crunching. You want to have just a little leeway so they're not dying. But when you're filling a box, always grab something that's at least a BCW size box. There are short boxes that are about an inch shorter. Always got one of these. And if you have the option between filling 2 shorts and a long for a sale, because I have seen sales like that, go with the 2 shorts. You're going to get more books. There you go. There's some free tips. So you might already know that.
Let me tell you, Gary's booth, they gave you the box.
Did they?
The box, yes.
So, I don't think I actually saw that. When I was at Gary's, he was just selling everything priced. I must have left before he started the FillABox sale.
No, because one side was Gary, the other side is his dad.
Oh,
so the side with his dad was the FillABox portion, but the whole square all belonged to Gary.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, people gotta be hip to this. I'm trying to find something really cool to answer Stingray's question. So my favorite character is Superman. And it all started with Superman the movie when I was a kid. So I think a lot of Superman folks know that the Christopher Reeve movie aired on television around 1980 in a two evening event on CBS. In my area, it was CBS. So I'm a little kid, and all I see is Lois falling, Superman change and leap up into the air, and then it said to be continued. Right? Drove me crazy. And then we watched part 2 the next night, and I had to close my eyes with Lois dying. I was so upset. Yeah, it really bothered me. And good morning, Max. And I was like, so for years I had trouble watching Lois's death scene, but I still love Superman. I was obsessed with Superman after that. So then, like one night, as a kid growing up growing up in a very hit and miss 2-income household, we sometimes had cable, we sometimes did not. During one of the times that we had HBO, my mom was like, "Hey, Superman's on." And I come running down, but it's Superman 2. And I'm like, what am I watching?
Kneel before Zod.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. And when I picked it up, it was right at the part where he landed in the tropics to get that flower when he was coming back with groceries for Lois Lane. Right? So I hadn't seen the intro of the movie. And so it was a while before I finally got to watch all of Superman 1 and 2. And then I still wasn't even like a full time. I could barely read, right? And there was these 3 Superman comics I had my mom hunt down for me. And he was battling Bartox over Lana Lang, right? And we got issue 2 first, then we found issue 3, then we found issue 1, and I would make my mother read them to me over and over and over. So she got tired of reading to me. So she bought those comic books that came with a record and a little record player for me so that I could start reading, Casper, Superman, Spider-Man. There was a Justice League one I had. And so like that got me into actual reading. And then I picked up Superman versus Captain Strong. It's an issue of Action Comics. And then John Byrne announced, and it was on like ABC 7 News over here. John Byrne announced, the Man of Steel miniseries. And I'm like, we have got to get this. So that's when the moment I became a collector was the moment we started chasing Man of Steel. And also, that's a big background. This was not supposed to be all about me.
Little known fact: Man of Steel, I believe, was the first variant in comics where there was 2 different covers.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had the newsstand with the shirt.
Yep.
You had the direct, which is just the chest opening, right? Yep. Where he's like basically Clark changing to Superman. And then of course you had a direct version of the newsstand. So technically 3 covers. And I didn't realize that until I got sick. I had a small I had a mass in my arm that they were having removed. And so like when I woke up in the hospital and they sent me home all groggy, I came home to a pile of comic books, including a fresh set of Man of Steel that my sister had brought me in Connecticut. And because she was living there at the time. So that was really funny. And I got another Vartox story too. When I woke up, I was like, oh, I didn't know that Superman did other things with Vartox.
I'm laughing at Nerdy Geeks comic. He says, that is fantastic. He got the host talking all about himself. I love Christopher Reeve's Superman as well. The other Supermans have been okay, but I'm the same with you. He was one of my Hulk is my guy, but Christopher Reeve's Superman also got me into comics. And hot take, I prefer Superman 2 over Superman 1.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back though, you know why I've learned to appreciate Superman the movie more? There is so much cinematography happening, so much directing happening, right? Like they were all in on making you believe a man could fly.
Yes.
And they did so much work. And also, it's like it's a 3-act movie. It is Krypton, Smallville, Metropolis. Yep. You know, like it is a 3-act movie. And when is the last time you heard of a movie? When is the last time you heard of a movie where they were setting up part 2 in the middle of making part 1? You know, like
back then that wasn't common. Not at all.
It's still not common. Still not common. The freaking Phantom. We are introduced to the Phantom Zone criminals right off the bat. You know, we are setting the stage for them. You know, and it's too bad we never got the original ending. So the original ending to Superman the movie is Superman launched one of the missiles into space, right? Which of course they changed, and the one that went into space blows up the Phantom Zone disc, and they're free. And when they're screaming they're free, they freeze into a comic book frame, and then it's the comic book saying to be continued that the little boy from the beginning of the movie was reading, and he closes the comic book, and the curtains close on him.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
That was the original ending. I love that concept. Love it.
Let me ask you this, Cliff, before we move on. Which do you prefer? The original Superman 2 theatrical version or the Donner cut? I think because I'm so used to the original, I picked the original over the Donner cut because the Donner cut just feels weird. Things that are supposed to happen in places don't. It throws me off.
No, I like the Donner cut. I do not, but I don't like the ending.
The recycled ending.
Yeah, the recycled ending I don't like. But I like the Donner cut because I like the additional scenes with the villains. You know, I like that we see how brutal Ursa is. She freaking throws that light and kills that kid. You know, I think it makes the Phantom Zone villains more menacing. You know, and I feel like we did more with them, right, in the Donner cut. But I feel like the ending sucks. You know, and also, again, that used to air on television with all the extra parts. So on television, you got this weird extended version of the movie where you've got Richard Lester and Richard Donner stuff all throughout. Yeah. So technically, that's my real favorite version, but no one's released that yet because that's got everything we love. The proper ending, the improper ending. You know, we've got them defeating the villains. We also get them taking the villains out in handcuffs. So we know that they didn't die and that Superman and Lois aren't murderers. And some people prefer Superman and Lois being murderers, just knocking people to their death in the fortress. Some people like that, you know. And to be honest, there's a little part of me that loves Margot Kidder knocking out freaking Ursa, you know, and watching her die. I mean, there's a little bit of a thrill there.
Got a little morbid here, guys, but we're happy. No, just kidding. You know, I never really thought of that because many times like Superman 2, I never really thought of they are killing them, and generally the notion as a comic book fan is Superman does not kill unless absolutely necessary, which I mean he's got to be pushed to like Doomsday. That was spoiler, he killed Doomsday temporarily.
But still he kept pushing himself to stop this unstoppable menace, you know?
Yeah.
We did have this question here. Favorite Superman actor, not including Christopher Reeve.
Reeve Area 51. That's a mistake I see a lot. Is Christopher Reeve, but people pluralize it a lot.
Well, right, because there's George Reeves and Christopher Reeve. No relation. And ever since I was a kid, people would intertwine their names.
Yes, they would.
And I just think that's a funny coincidence.
It is.
But I gotta be honest, I really like Corin Sweat. I really do.
He was good.
He's really good. And I love me some wow, it's bad. It's
Henry
bad.
Cavill?
I love me some Henry Cavill, but I don't feel like he got to be full-on Superman as I wanted to see him. There was not a lot of it. We got like little chunks of it. And that
my issue with him is I thought he was good as a Superman. I didn't like his Clark Kent. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Well, because his Clark Kent was modernized.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. Yeah, like I accept it because we had to modernize Clark Kent just like they had to modernize Lois. They made her a sugar addict, right? Instead of a smoking addict. And I love her because she said that she was studying Margot Kidder's performance and her with the cigarettes while doing her sugar thing throughout the movie.
Oh.
You know, and if you notice, when we got the very first trailer for the movie, she walks towards the camera for a second, and the swagger she uses as she comes towards the camera is just like Margot Kidder, you know? And I love that so much. I love that she captured that and gave homage to that, you know? And I don't see stuff over here. I see it in the live chat. Nerdy Geek says, what I remember from watching Superman on TV as a kid is, ahora regresamos con el Superman. Yeah, that was from the Adventures of Superman.
My chat has stopped as well on StreamYard. The last one I see is, hey, I have comic issues, but the actual chat is, there's still other things happening.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna watch the live chat, and I'm just gonna ignore StreamYard and all of its weirdness, you know, and hope that people are still actually watching. All right, back to questions about my guest.
Yes.
You already shared a little bit with us, so the community of Cliffs. Don't worry, I left out Cliff Huxtable. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. So anyhow, personal strategy for filling a box. If someone says fill the box for X amount of dollars,
strategy is always number one: buy comics for my personal collection, and that works twofold. Issues that I'm missing, or if I see a book, because I do so many FillABox sales, a lot of times books you'll find, especially if they're Silver Age or early Bronze Age, they're going to be mid-grade or lower grade. So whenever I find Silver Age or Bronze Age and FillABox type things, I'm always going to grab those because I might get a condition upgrade. I recently just bought a long box and short box of Bronze Age books and ended up upgrading 25 books, I think. Now it takes a lot of time sitting there grabbing your book and grabbing that book, and especially if it's 70s books, the Marvel Value stamp might be there, might not be there. And I looked through mine and I had a couple books missing the stamp. The books I replaced it with had the stamp. So obviously that's an upgrade. But it's always personal collection books, possible condition upgrades. And the last one is any type of keys. If I'm filling a box, whether I need it or not, grabbing a minor key, sometimes a big key can be good for either obviously your own collection, or it might be like, you know what, this is a key. I already have it, or maybe I don't want it, but this could be something to trade or sell. I don't sell a lot of comics. I occasionally put up lots of 3 to 4 short boxes on Facebook Marketplace because I just don't have any more room. My collection was 91 short boxes. I've cut it down to 82. But if I have stuff coming in and the boxes are full and stuff is got, the modern stuff goes out, and I'm friend with a few dealers, so sometimes they buy it, and it's more of just I break even. I don't try to make any money off of it. Just the stuff I don't keep, I usually sell for what I paid for it, and it's just to get it out because I don't have room. So that'll do too. That it helps selling stuff on Facebook if you put some keys in there, like stuff that's going to catch people's attention. So in FillABox sales, if I see keys, I'll be like, all right, I either keep this, trade it, or sell it. For the most part, have fun. Just have fun with filling it out.
In my mind, you know, I would like to sell it, but you know, ultimately, what I end up doing is occasionally stuff ends up in giveaways. You know, where I'm just like, you know, because I was like, well, I got a whole bunch of Brave and the Bold for $1, so. And sometimes it was Brave and the Bold for $2, but still, I'm like, this could go in a giveaway. It's nice. I can see the chat again. Paolo said, before there was Lois and Clark, I remember Adventures of Superboy. Never saw the 1984 Supergirl movie, though. I recommend the director's cut.
I've seen it once or twice. The only thing I remember from that Supergirl movie is a poster of Christopher Reeve Superman on the door at the beginning.
Because that's all they ended up using. They wanted to have him in the movie. Originally, he was going to be affected by magic. And then Supergirl, you know, being like a secret weapon, like he was going to like coach her into being the hero. And then, of course, you know, save him at the end. But Christopher Reeve was like, no, right? And so all we got was the poster and the fact that she was aware of him.
Yep, that was it. I was excited as a kid. I'm like, oh, he's going to be in the movie. And that was it. There's your cameo.
That was the cameo, a poster.
Yeah.
All right. Nerdy Geek says, I need to take a trip to the Northeast. We do not get FillABox sales down here in Texas. We barely get them over here. So, yeah. We should make
a clip. Aren't you local to me, kind of, maybe?
I'm in New York. I'm in the Poughkeepsie part of New York.
Okay. I'm in Connecticut, so we're neighbors.
Yeah, like I'm not too far from you, but when you start talking about Massachusetts and stuff, I was like, oh well, Now it's a whole adventure. You know.
I want to touch on that real quick because when I moved up here in 2018, my collection buying stopped, or late 2017. I had lived in Virginia for 10 years, and I was starting to buy collections left and right. People are always putting them up on Craigslist, selling them for way under fair market value. They just wanted them out of their house, and I was like, man, this is fun. It really got me into collection buying. And I move up here, nothing. There are a bajillion dealers in Connecticut, which I originally looked at as a bad thing, but now I'm kind of, changed how I feel about them. Like, you know what? Having so many options, so many comic stores, so many shows, not everybody has this luxury. I've talked to people on FillABoxComics. They're like, my closest comic store is 3 hours away. I was like, 3 hours? They're all over the place here.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Very much the case. Like, we take that for granted. I know a lot of people who live in a comic book desert.
Yeah.
Matt says, Rich, what are your favorite 5 titles to collect from Silver and Bronze Age?
Hulk, Spider-Man, X-Men, Superman, and I'm not sure on the last one. I think about that one. Those are quick. Batman, Superman, Batman. Round it up. Wolverine's one of my favorite characters, but he's not in the Silver Age, and he comes in mid-Bronze Age, mid early Bronze.
I was gonna say he counts as bronze.
Yeah, but
not too much. You're right.
When you put the silver caveat on there, then I got to go Batman. I really like old DC, Superman, Batman, especially Superman. They're really cheesy covers where like he's getting punched by Jimmy Olsen. They're just such a nice, youthful innocence about it that I just, I love the cheesiness. And sure, there's no continuity from one book to the next. It's not like the storylines today, which, you'll have a 12-issue arc or even maybe longer, but they're just really neat and fun, and I enjoy that.
That's it. It's funny. So as I've been collecting the early Legion appearances, like there is a note of continuity, but we're like, oh, we said some stupid shit in this appearance, so we're not going to talk about it. So like their third appearance is they're like, hey, Supergirl, like we're the children of the original Legion that brought in Superboy. And I was like, why would you say this to her? And then like we never mention it again. Never again. We're never talking about that again. And then later on, we find out that technically Supergirl joined the Legion before Superboy because time shenanigans.
This clip, this sounds like the writers are lost, where they would bring stuff up and just forget about it.
Listen, that final season, I was so mad because there was so much stuff I wanted to just to get to. And listen, I'm gonna give I will give it to them. They really tried. They really tried to tie everything together in a bow, and that's a lot more I can say for them. And even Stranger Things, they try to put it in a bow. I could say that for them because there are so many people out there that I feel like they did not put a proper bow on the end of their show. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones, and
you're gonna say it.
I'm also looking at you, How I Met Your Mother. I just feel like
Walking Dead as well. Horrible.
I know, but Walking Dead in my mind is still not over because that universe.
Well, that's the thing. They announced the final season, and then before they get, we start watching the final season, they announce all the spin-offs, which means no chance those characters are ever going to be in danger because they have another show coming. So that really just made the whole 11th season like whatever. These characters can't die. They're plot armor. Who cares?
Well, right. The plot armor people are going to live. Everyone else is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I love Daryl and Carol. I love Daryl and Carol so much. I was like, yes, because at one point I heard it was going to be Daryl and Carol. Then she was like, yo, why am I not getting paid the appropriate rate to be the co-star? And they're like, okay, we'll just do the story without you. And then apparently they stood up for each other and we got Daryl and Carol. So, and I don't even watch it. I just love her so much that I just want to know that she's getting a good paycheck because I love her. I love that woman that much. Every interview she's given has been so sincere. Like one time they were writing to her, they had her on Talking Dead talking about she's having a confrontation with Rick, and she goes, I'm the one portraying Carol. She's like, I'm not portraying that in that scene. She's like, she goes, I believe in my character, and my character looks at Rick like a brother. And she goes, and that's what I'm performing. And she goes, now the writers can come along and say I'm all wrong about that, but that is what I'm performing. That's the Carol I'm performing. And that moved me so much. And every time she talks about she talks about performing Carol, as Carol, the character of Carol. She's like, I'm all in. I'm invested in her journey completely. You know,
it's not just a role for her. It means something to her.
Right, it means something to her, and I love it because I love an actor who's like, you know what, I signed on for this, and like I'm fully invested. Even the stuff where she was covering herself with all the mud and dead body parts or whatever, she's like, all right, that's it. Carol's gonna go save her friends. Let's go. And I was like, yes, Carol.
Season 5, episode 1.
That was my favorite season opener ever.
That was insane. That threw me off. I'm like, all right, here comes a big Terminus story arc. Okay, and there it goes.
Yeah, no, it threw me off, but Carol was so there. And I'm glad that she had that evolution, especially because Carol in the comics didn't get that, right?
I finally read that last year, Walking Dead 1 through 193, and that was probably, as much as I love the Hulk and the other characters I mentioned, that was the first time I literally had trouble stopping reading. Like I'd read 4 issues at a time, 8 issues at a time, 12. I'm like, I need to know what happens next. I need to know what happens next. And having watched the show already and seeing how some of the characters, Andrea, were so different than the TV show, but then seeing direct quotes from the comic that made it into the TV show was awesome.
Yeah, comic book Andrea, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, she became their everyday sharpshooter, and that was so great. And instead we got the reverse, right?
Yeah.
Like Carol became the strong one on the show.
Yep.
You know, however, Michonne, I feel like they nailed it. You know,
there was a little bit of stuff in her character that was not in the show, but
yeah, no, right, but I feel
it made sense. Like her sleeping around in the comic would not have worked in the show.
Absolutely, no. But overall, the
attitude.
The whole attitude, the whole like, I didn't realize that I was going to become a badass in the apocalypse thing. You know, like I like that whole idea of like this scenario brought out different traits in people.
Yeah.
You know, or and the show using Carol's fragility, her using it as a mask and being able to deceive people with it. You know,
I love the show and the comic. It was great seeing people live together, come together. Coral. There's my Rick.
I love it. I have so many FillABox questions because that's really what I want to talk about today.
Who doesn't love filling a box?
There is. What's the best book you ever pulled out of FillABox?
Oh wow. Because I brought some with me today.
Oh, I love it.
So I have a few dollar books. I came prepared for this. So just FillABox, one of those FillABox for $40. So there's stuff like this that I love. I will grab these all day if it's a FillABox sale.
Okay.
Danya Keys, the first appearance of Exo Man of War. Why not? Because if I'm paying $40 for a box and I'm putting sometimes up to 200 comics if they're not bagged and board, that's 5 cents a book. I'm like, stuff like this? Absolutely. Recently at a comic show, Kurt, one of my buddies, Kurt's Comics, I guess we'll call it, because he's a private seller. He had, dollar books or 15 through 10. I was like, sure.
Oh,
that's a little caffeine.
That's excellent.
Same dealer. And this is weird. So he was I was looking through his better stuff first, and I saw a gentleman looking through a long box, and I saw him find a Defenders number 10. I'm like, Defenders 10, classic Hulk versus Thor cover in the dollar books. What the heck? So he grabbed a few Defenders pieces out. I'm like, I'm going to go through those boxes. And I found this in there in the same box he looked, so he missed it. I was like, swing.
Oh, Firestorm.
First Firestorm. And then the last one was at Comics and Coffee in Deep River, Connecticut. I was filling a box. It was, I think we did $40 for the box. Again, got about 200 books in there. I'm going through, and there's like, little very minor keys, Cable number 3, the first appearance, Weasel, stuff like that. Just those little minor keys. And I stop and I see a book, and I was like, what the? Is this what I think it is? And I looked down and the issue number's there. It is missing the cover, but coverless books actually go for $40 on eBay because I looked it up just to check. Well, this is Amazing Spider-Man 101, the first Morbius, which I didn't own. So I was like, you know what? It might be coverless, but I have a copy now, at least until I upgrade it. So I was like,
I was going to say, if you find a cover with no interior.
Yeah, you're right. If I find a cover, don't marry it. And what I mean by that is don't, attach it, but just, it might still be.
Marry it. Marry
okay.
it. Yeah, why not? Marry it and even grade it and be like, look, I've got Frankenstein, his masterpiece.
You know, you're right. Since I'm not grading it and it's just for my PC, if I find just the cover, yeah, marry it. You're right. Why not?
Absolutely would. Absolutely would.
Those are some dollar comic finds. I was trying to remember because I've bought so much in the last few years. I'm like, I can't remember all my dollar deals. I do have a deal I got at the Brimfield Flea Market, which was my best flea market find. So if you want to, go into that later, I certainly can. Or now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let's talk about your best flea market find. Do tell.
All right. So I assume you've heard of.
Wait a second. Before we get into this, are any of these books from your final five?
No.
Okay, good. Then we're good. We're good.
No, I've got everything separate. I got my final five. I've got a recent find that I've wanted for a long time. 2 very recent pickups. I came prepared.
I love it.
So Brimfield Flea Market is a massive flea market in, where is it, Massachusetts? Brimfield. Oh my God. All right. Brimfield Flea Market in Brimfield, Massachusetts. And I had heard about it a ton of times from Lunch Money Comics. I was like, I got to check this thing out. So I end up going to the flea market. And we get there early, me and my girlfriend at like 6:30 in the morning. It's pretty cold out. And I'm kind of striking a lot, Cliff. I'm not really finding any comics. I finally find a Spider-Man annual, it was like number 4 or 5, and I got a good deal on it. And I didn't notice it at the time, but there was a slight little piece of tape still on the bag when I was putting it back in. And I tape pulled the book I just bought.
Oh.
So it was a very tiny tape pull, but I'm like dropping F-bombs outside the tent. And the lady runs out, she's like, what's wrong? Something wrong with the book I sold you? Like, it's me. I tape pulled it. So now I'm having a miserable day. I find some comics throughout the day here and there, but nothing really good. Like I'm always seeing Lunch Money talk about how great this flea market is. And I'm like, kind of sucks. Freaking Lunch Money. Anyway, just kidding, Mike. If this gets back to you, love you. So eventually me and my girlfriend find a dealer who's selling a bunch of comics for half off. And I find a couple good things there. But while we're talking to him, he's like, hey, there's some dude around the corner that's selling his collection. We don't really see anything. So just a heads up. I'm like, all right, let's check this guy out. And we get to this table or tables. And it's a ton of comics just laid out on top of each other, some in boxes. And it looks like a lot of 90s chaff. You know, the stuff you see in dollar books like the X-Force #7, just random stuff like that, ton of X Factor. I go up to the guy that's running the show, and he's like, I have this box of priced stuff. And I went through that. I was like, didn't see anything there. Then all the table stuff. And all the table stuff was $5 each, which is a lot if it looks like dollar books, or 3 for $10. And I'm like, well, we're already here. Why don't I start going through some of this stuff? And I'm, looking through some stuff, and I'm like, no way, this is really overpriced. 3 for $10. I see a cardboard box with the word X-Men on it. I was like, all right, maybe I'll start finding some stuff in here. So I start going through, and the first book I found was X-Men 244, the first appearance of Jubilee. So I'm like, okay, all right, I found an okay book. All right, we'll stick here. Let's go through this box, and maybe I'll find something else. And the numbers start going up. So, of course, it was there. X-Men 266, which is funny because Lunch Money Comics mentioned somebody always finds an X-Men 266 at this flea market on cheap, except for him.
Right.
So in that same box, near the back of the box, and I wish I was filming this at the time, but I wasn't, because I was so just like frustrated with the flea market at this point. I find a book, and I got my numbers in my head confused because the book I grabbed, I'm like, I think this is a key. I think this is Alan Moore's first work on Swamp Thing. So this is a cool book to grab. I was wrong because it was this one, the first John Constantine.
Yes.
I had my girlfriend look it up on the way home. I'm like, can you look up this book? Because I don't know. I almost didn't grab this. I'm like, I think this is a key. I don't know. She looks it up. She's like, it's like a $200 or $250 book, and it's a first John Constantine. I'm like, what? So I shared this on FillABoxComics. And somebody actually commented, you're a freaking thief and a ripoff artist. You should have told them what their books are worth. And I was like,
no.
If I did that at every dollar, it's one thing if somebody comes up to you and says, what is this worth? I'm going to be honest in that respect. When somebody says, these are my price books, everything over here is this price, have at it. It's not my job to dig through their boxes and go, wait, this one's not 3 for $10. Well, you know what? You probably shouldn't. I found, I did the work. And I also didn't know what I had for the record when I bought it.
It's valid, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I know it's some sort of key.
I know it's something, and I've always wanted that book, but that's one of those books I didn't want to pay, $100 for, $200, $3.30
$600 for.
Yeah. I was like, nope. that was my Brimfield Flea Market experience. It was I did take off every Tuesday this year, the first day for the 3 shows. So I'll be going to everyone this year, and it'll be obviously on the channel. And hopefully, I don't know if we'll score a deal like that, but as long as I find some stuff that for my personal collection, I'm happy. I will say, if you go to Brimfield, you're going to see the other sticker shock side as well, where some people are selling it for full retail or more than full retail. And I was like, this is a $50 book you're trying to sell for $100.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to see you there in May.
Yes. I'll be there. Are you going in May?
Well, yeah, the next one is in May, according to their website.
Are you going on the first day on Tuesday?
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. During the week is crazy. Although I guess during the week would be the best time to get a deal, right? Because you have less competition.
So I've heard first day or second day. Lunch Money said the first day is the best day because if there's any deals to be found, you're going to find the deal the first day. But there are areas that are closed off throughout the week. Like Wednesday, there's one section that opens up. I can't go multiple days. It's an hour drive, which isn't terrible, but
it's 2.5 hours for me. So I gotta pick my day.
Pick your day. So probably Tuesday, which you're gonna have to get up butt early because I would recommend getting there no later than 7 a.m. probably.
Oh my God, I gotta get up. I gotta get up before dawn. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Goodness gracious. Well, it says it opens at 9 a.m. Are we going to be like standing on a line outside?
No, there are tents that were open at 6. Some areas open at 7. There's a lot of different areas in the flea market on the road. So just some areas open at different times. The area where I bought
one of those gigantic flea markets that like goes on for like a mile or something.
It's the biggest flea market in the United States, I believe.
Oh my! So this is the one that I've seen on Home and Garden Television or whatever.
Possibly.
Yeah, because it says there's the May Antique Market, and then the Dealer Choice section that opens at 11. The Heart Mart opens at 9. New England Motel opens at 6 a.m.
Yep.
Brimfield Auction is only open Friday through Saturday. Yeah, and it goes on and on and on. Outrageous. Yes. I love it.
It's crazy. Parking is $10 to $20 too, as a heads up, everybody. It's not free parking unless you park probably a few miles away, and I'm not walking a few miles.
Look at this. If you aren't local, oof.
Yeah.
I guess that means I gotta stay in the motel that night, and then like wait, I gotta stay in the motel the night before, and then like just wake up and walk right into shopping.
That thought crossed my mind when you said driving over here for that, because when I went to Little Giant, New Hampshire, that's about 2 to 2.5 hours for me, and I was like, I'm not driving up in the morning for that show. I got a hotel the night before, and so I could just be there on time and not have to do the driving. So that might not be a bad idea.
There you go. There you go. I'm adding hotel searches to the route.
There you go.
All right. Biggest mistake you see people making when they're filling boxes?
So a buddy of mine does fill box sales. I'm not going to say his name, but a friend of mine does fill box sales too. And a lot of times I'll see him. He's more of a reseller, but he'll grab a lot of modern stuff. And it's modern stuff I know that is extremely hard to move. Something like, the non-popular titles, X Factor, maybe something like Green Lantern, just stuff like that. I think the biggest mistake is just grabbing, you know what? Actually, let me back it up. So this is where I was heading with this. Seeing grab that stuff is forcing a fill a box. Don't fill a box if you're going to be unhappy with a lot of the contents of the box. I have recently started changing how I fill a boxes, where you've seen it on the channel if you watched watching the content. I mentioned Brickhouse Comics and Collectibles. They do fill-a-box sales. Well, as of late, I've been splitting a box with a buddy of mine instead of filling the whole box. So I won't force a fill-a-box if the comics aren't there that I want, because I'm really not looking to resell. I'm looking to collect. And if you're in that same boat with me, then don't force a fill-a-box unless you know you can sell it or trade it or a combination of both. So yeah, that biggest mistake is forcing a fill-a-box when there's stuff there that you don't want. Because I've had that same friend say, well, I got a half a box. I need to fill another box or fill it up to get another box. Like he had one full box. Now he's filling a second box. I'm like, why don't you take the stuff that's least important to you out of the first box and take the stuff from that second box and make it one. You're literally grabbing titles you don't want to fill a second box.
Yep. I always find titles I want. So this is my FillABox master philosophy, and that is. So usually I'm like looking for my Superman Legion stuff first, right? For me. And then, like, if I just want things to fill the box, my go-tos are Defenders, Avengers, and Thor. I don't know when I decided that my go-to is Avengers, Defenders, and Thor. Also Marvel Team Up, which I like, and also Brave and the Bold. I don't remember how my brain wired it, but I just recognize that when I'm like power going through, I'm like, oh, this is a cool Batman thing, right? And I'm like, so yeah, I'll grab it because I know it's a cool Batman thing. But then I'm like, man, I'm not finding anything. Oh, there's some Defenders.
Undervalued series, by the way.
Huh?
Defenders. I think it's an underappreciated, undervalued series. That if they ever make a movie, it's gonna.
Yeah, if there's ever a movie, it'll skyrocket. But you know, I don't really see that in the future. But who knows?
No.
Especially since Netflix did that whole street level Defenders thing.
I don't want to watch that. That's not the Defenders I grew up with.
No, it's not. I mean, I watched it, was fine, but then they even did a comic book series featuring those characters, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I would have called them something completely different, but okay.
The Three Amigos. Wait, copyrighted.
Well, no, I was gonna say there's more than 3 of them.
Oh, there's 3. When I think Defenders, I'm thinking the original group.
Luke Cage, Jessica, Iron Fist, Daredevil. That's it, right? Yeah, that's it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm like, it only would have been better if somebody snuck Doctor Strange in there, but oh well.
Yeah. I think there's also issue with Sony owning Submariner, so they would have to work out a deal to have them part of the MCU.
Well, no. The Sony thing with Submariner isn't a problem. Fox was the problem. Fox was the problem. Yeah, but they bought Fox, so that's over with, right. Defenders are a non-team. Anyone could be a member. Oh, I mean,
you can be a member, and you can be a member, and you can be a member.
I have mixed feelings on that thought. Oh my God.
It's funny. This box right here is my Defenders run of issue 1 through 100. They're talking about it. Just hitting. What?
It's so hard for me to find the early issues of Defenders. I have a number 1, I have a number 3. I think I have a number 5, and of course I have like the Avengers Defenders War pieces. But anyhow, it has just been a pain. The first 20 issues of that and Marvel Team Up, it's constantly a pain for me to try to complete.
Do you have Marvel Feature number 1?
Oh,
it's on the wall. What about Submariner 34, the precursor to the Defenders? Okay, it's on the wall too. Nice. All right. I couldn't tell like it.
Okay. There is the last issue of Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange in Submariner, the Hulk versus the Nightcrawler, which is not the Nightcrawler from X-Men, and then the 2 issues down here that I have of Submariner. All of those are what I call pre-Defenders or road to Defenders. That's what I like to think of it as. Okay. The Defenders have a headquarters. Ooh. I mean, they use Doctor Strange's Sanctum a lot. But then they also used Atlantis, too.
Yeah. Whatever's available to them.
Whatever's available to them,
Thank you, Nerdy Geeks.
Yes. Nerdy Geek is a great guy. Oh, my goodness.
Hello,
yes.
darkness, my old friend. I was going to sound asylum, sorry.
No, someone... No, someone was just correcting me on something.
I didn't see it.
No, someone was messaging me about a mistake I made on the on the Sunday thumbnails. Nomad Avengers. They kind of are. One of the things I liked is issue 3 of the Defenders. They've essentially failed their mission, right? Because Strange was promising Silver Surfer a way out of Galactus entrapping him, right? And of course, when they were in this other dimension with this demon that fused into that woman, Surfer was like, oh, I can sense that I'm away from Galactus's influence, right? And when they got out of there and they pulled that woman away from being merged with that demon, Surfer was once again trapped on Earth, pissed off, being like, this is the last time I put my faith in men, and flies off. And then the woman is completely mentally fractured because she misses being merged with the demon, and Doctor Strange is devastated and questioning himself as leader of the Defenders. And that's how issue 3 ends. And I'm like, this is kind of brilliant, you know?
I have not read that yet. To be transparent, I've not read the run yet. I've got so much I'm trying to catch up on reading, which is not a bad thing. I've always got something available to me to read. The last thing I read was, oddly enough, Emma Frost 1 through 6 from the early 2000s, which, if you haven't read that series, it was the higher learning storyline. The covers do not match the inside of the book at all. You have sexy cover. All the covers are, seductive. And then you get in the book and it's like, it's Emma Frost as a teenager before she has powers. What? It was good, but it was like a 180. I'm like, all right, what's this going to be about?
I like that we got to, learn about her family life, her family members.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. Not what I expected.
No, it wasn't what I expected. And of course, we got Christian out of there and everything. Oh my God, this is so funny. If you had 5 minutes and one short box, what are you going for?
Ooh.
Like, let's imagine, remember the Toys R Us giveaway back in the day, just running through with the cart, and you had like 5 minutes with the cart in the whole store. That sort of scenario.
I don't remember that, but I remember a show on Lifetime I watched when my mom was a kid called Supermarket Sweep, where they would just fill up the carriages with. So I have 5 minutes of short box. What am I going for?
Yes, and you're just filling it up.
So what I would do, because I'm thinking more condition upgrades, and I have to say this, but this is where I'm not thinking like value to trade for books in the future. If it's just more bronze and modern, it's not all silver, nothing crazy. Probably going for Spider-Man first, because Spider-Man is always in demand. If you're ever filling a box, you're like, I want to get some stuff to trade in the future. Amazing Spider-Man, ASM, especially Volume 1.
Yeah, always Volume 1.
I do. So I want to answer Jeff. Jackie says, do you avoid Archie gulping at box sales? I do. I'm not a big fan of the titles that come from them. I do collect Dell, Uncle Scrooge, and Donald Duck, like the 10 centers. But aside from that, there are some Archie books to keep an eye out from. I think it's Archie's Girls, Betty and Veronica, like issue 320 or 321 is the first Cherry Blossom. That's a valuable book that gets passed up a lot. But overall, I don't hit those titles.
Yeah, no, there's particular ones, like I had to beat off 3 guys. If I see that, I'm like, yep. Over here, I
do know the book you're talking about. That's an expensive one now because of the entry.
I want there's a variant where it's just like Archie's wearing a black leather jacket. It's open, and the shirt just said, I had to beat off 3 guys, to get here or something like that. And I was like, I need this cover. And I can't believe that Archie Comics approved it, because they're very careful about just how sexy or sexual innuendo you could go. But some days they're like, yeah, we're going to let this one fly. I'm like,
so I would, since you're mentioning that, I think it's called The Rifleman, where there's a guy standing there like this and he's smiling. There's a kid and he's holding like a piece of wood, and it just happens to be right where it shouldn't be. And that's a classic, what were they thinking cover. That one has some value. So if I see something like that, I probably would grab it because it's cool. And it's one of those, like the Alf cover where he's behind like an inflatable, and it looks like he's giving it the business. Comics like that where it's classic cover. Alf is behind some kind of object, and it looks like he's
Alf covers. My goodness.
Well, there's an Alf cover that is really sketchy. So stuff like that, as a collector, it's weird to grab that because it's like, how did this get approved? Like, you're looking at it like you immediately, your eyes and your mind know.
Oh, I found it. It was the second Alf cover to show up in my search.
Of course it was.
My God.
Yep, Marvel proved that.
The safety seal is missing. Oh my goodness. So hurry up already. Oh my Lord.
Cliff, I just found out a Sonic the Hedgehog book I bought. It's like issue 21 or 22 is now catching some value because it has a sexual reference. And I picked up the book for my LCS. I'm like, he was doing a whatnot. I'm like, I put $1 on it, and then I want it for $1. I'm like, whatever. And I'm looking at the book. I'm like, I don't get why this is sexual. It has, I think, Dr. Robnut in the background in shadows, but Sonic is saying, all I see is a belly and a giant head.
Yeah.
And I did not interpret that as they were talking about nod his head up top. I was like, oh, people are taking this a different way. All right.
I would buy a trade.
I'll give it to business.
Because their minds weren't in the gutter. I know, we're all ruined now.
Yeah, we are.
How do you deal with over 80% of Disney comic book stories never having been published in English?
Are they not in English?
There are many that are not in English, yeah.
Oh,
that means talk to Paolo. Apparently there's a whole range of Disney products out there for you to collect and to photograph it to ChatGPT to translate for you. And
I'll just buy the English version. I got time for that.
No, they don't. Like, that's what I'm saying. They are exclusive.
Oh, you don't?
Right. They're exclusively in other languages.
Oh, I did not realize that.
So there you go, sir. Something new for you to add to your collecting goals. You're like, German Uncle Scrooge basket, Portuguese Uncle Scrooge basket. in the box. I'll translate at home.
I've seen some foreign comics that look pretty cool, but they're usually individually priced, and I don't know the value of them. I don't know anything about them. There's like, Incredible Hulk 181 reprints from like 10 years later in Germany. I'm like, what's yeah. Sorry, Matt.
I see. You still owe him. I owe you a nightmare. Oh my God. But look at this. Yes, the majority of Disney comic books stories come from Italy, France, Brazil, and Denmark have also created their own stories. So yes, you got a lot. You got some shopping to do, my friend.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out.
Time for international box filling. That could be a whole series for you. My girlfriend and I are here in Denmark.
I got a lot of foreign comics. I filled the China box, whole Chinese box. But all right.
That's not what I heard initially, but thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, Chinese comics. What are you talking about here? Clean, PG.
I'm not PG. I was like, if we know anything about my show, we know this one thing here.
Touche.
Which by the way, at the end of the month, and now I got it because I accidentally used it this morning, but at the end of the month, I am doing my Black Catwoman Claws Out giveaway. That'll be live, Comics with Coffee with Cliff. Now I've got to reset the event. I have to get a new guest because my original guest cannot make it. So that's fun. Also, the usual, if you want to support the channel, go over to BCW, use Cliff Comics as your code to save 10% off. You save 10%. It helps support my channel. We all win, and I appreciate you. All right.
Holy crap. What has happened with BCW Comics? I looked up the boxes on Amazon. I remember buying 10 for $60. Now they're like 10 for 90 or 100. Like the prices have just...
Go to their website and use my code.
There you go. Don't buy on Amazon. I didn't buy any on Amazon. Just saying.
Yeah, no, right. And no, I think I'm not going to get into it, but I think deep down, you know why. Think deep down, you know why. At least they're based in the U.S., so we don't have to deal with a whole bunch of other shenanigans that are going on.
Yep, fair enough.
Oh my God, the amount of times I've already grabbed my chest as I gasp throughout the stream. I appreciate it. I know, because obviously I have said things. Things were said.
If only Max could see my shirt, because everybody sees this and you see Unleash the Hulk, and you're like, it's a Hulk shirt, but right underneath his head, there's a giant arrow pointing out my you-know-what. Unleash the Hulk. The madder he gets, the bigger and stronger he gets.
I appreciate. Don't threaten us with a good time. I was going to say, that's the kind of humor I appreciate. One day I'll find my perfect comic book nerd future husband. And Max says too poor. Wait, I'm missing something that's happening over here. Max, are you clutching your pearls? No, I'm too poor. All that is happening on the live stream, and none of it is showing up here.
Yeah, I couldn't see it either.
Yeah,
it's weird. Some of the chats from YouTube are showing up on StreamYard, and then some aren't.
Yeah. I don't love that. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, sir. It's time to get to your first comic book assignment.
Okay.
And I got to remember how to use StreamYard. All right. So first up, something new you picked up.
Was this the 2 new books I recently picked up?
Yes.
Okay. So I got 2, both from Whatnot, and I thought I got a really good deal on both of these. This is now the best condition version I have of this book, and I want to say it's an 8.0, maybe an 8.5, but this is Incredible Hulk 141, the first appearance of Doc Samson.
Nice, very nice.
And I think I snagged this for $36, 34 or 36, which is way under FMB. I mean, the book has come down like most have the last few years, but I saw this and I was like, you know what? The one I had in this Mylar, which I didn't realize was originally maybe a 4.0. This is about an 8.0. I was like, sweet. And then another book I didn't know I wanted, but I grabbed it. This one's probably a 6.0, and I think I got a good deal on Whatnot, same seller. This is Tomb of Dracula #1. I grabbed that for $180.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it looked like 4s were going for about the same price. So I'm like a 6.0, sure. Complete white page. Both books have white pages. It was from the, I'll let you guys know. I always share who I buy stuff on the channel. I'm very transparent with the price, who I bought them from. But it's Comic Chris, and he started those at $1. And he starts everything at $1, no matter what. Now, he'll read the room if people aren't interested in bigger books. He's not going to just sell bigger books for, $5 or $10. But he starts at $1. And what was also interesting about this one is there was a really big Whatnot seller in there called Goodbye Comics. And Chris had not auctioned this off yet. He advertised it, and Goodbye said, hey, I'll give you $200 for it right now. And he's like, I just want to auction it off. Goodbye was still in there. I was bidding against him, and he stopped at $180, and I was like, you okay? I'll take it.
Like, I win.
I win. A winner is you.
I mean, it is. Listen, some of these things that I win online is crazy, and I actually have to still pay for one. But I'm in the middle of a secondary auction on the same website, so I'm waiting for that one to complete before I buy all of them.
Yep.
So yeah, for my 2 books, they're just new books for this week. I picked up the Radiant Black #1 Black and White, which I highly recommend people. If you just see this laying around on the rack, you better grab it. And of course, because I have the Black Catwoman giveaway coming up.
Nice.
I don't care. Like I say, first of all, I feel the main reason they did this is because they realized how sexual Venom and Venom's tongue has been with Spider-Man.
Oh, I didn't realize that was his tongue coming down there. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I feel like they realize how sexual they've gotten with Spider-Man and Venom's tongue, and they're like, no, we gotta make this, we gotta de-homify that, And I'm like, too late. So whatever. I feel like this is the Batwoman, Batgirl response to Batman and Robin sleeping in a bed together. Just my thoughts on that.
I really did not know that was Venom. I thought that was Gene Simmons up there, and all good.
Well, apparently they have the same ancestry.
Yeah, I believe it.
Great choice of joining them up. I did.
Yes.
I'm calling it. I renamed the event multiple times, so I've left the name at Claws out. I feel like that's cute.
That's good. That definitely works.
Yeah. Not like my original name, which AI was like, why would you do this? You're only going to tarnish your reputation forever.
That's already tarnished. Don't worry about it.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Who cares?
Oh my God. I do deep down because, I have issues. As Brian.
Comic issues like that. You have comic issues.
Well, I know that would be Brian, and Brian knows all about that. All right. So that leaves us with, that doesn't leave us with anything. Hold on. We got all sorts of other things. Okay.
That's more assignments you gave me.
I did. The next assignment, but we're going to take a break in assignments because we're going to play Rate It or Hate It from the 2-year retrospective over at Cover Price. Look at this. So 2 years ago, we had, was it only 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, 2024. God, so Deadpool 3 just came out the other day. All right. So at number 10, we got Secret Wars. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to remind you how this is played. You as our guest will decide if we rate it or hate it. And then if we rate it, it is a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being, hey, I think like there's an audience for this somewhere, even if it's not me. And 5 being like, I think this is a must-have for nearly anybody's collection. You got that?
I got it.
I feel like I need to remind people a lot. All right. So at number 10, Secret Wars number 5, the Alex Ross cover. Rate it or hate it.
I gotta say, I love a lot of Alex Ross work. I don't like this. Hated it.
I do not hate the series, but I don't approve of why this skyrocketed just because it appeared in a trailer and people took it some kind of way. So not great. All right. And then in the same spirit, number 9, Deadpool's Secret Wars #1.
I used to have this. So I do like that Deadpool's giving the bunny ears to everybody. Not in love with the color, like the cover. The Hulk looks a little funky on the bottom. But I'll rate it. I'll give it a... Can we do halves?
You can do a half.
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Wow, that's generous. That's generous. I was just going to give it a 2. Like,
we're in the same boat. 2.5
is... Well, no, just to, I'm just, just like a regular 2. Like, there's
I like above the Secret Wars. It's below the Secret Wars where it's losing me. So yeah, maybe a 2. The whole really bother me.
All of the bunny ear actions is happening really, really well, and then I don't know what happens.
For the bunny ears, I'm going to change my score to a 2.
Yeah. Oh wait, I do see double bunny ears coming out of the side of the Hulk's head. That's what I'm noticing.
There's a lot going on there. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it a 2. All right, at number 8, the 15th origin story of the Joker. I'm exaggerating. I don't know how many times we try to do this. Batman 142, Joker Year 1, Part 1.
They're blocking his face, like the top of his face. There's just clouds up there. I mean, I know he's looking in, the rain there. It's a reflection thing, but I don't like this. I hate it.
So like many people, I jumped on this because I thought it was going to mean something. And I did not enjoy the story. And I did not enjoy the whole, we had 3 Jokers and they were separate entities. But then this story is basically saying it's the same dude. He just learned how to evoke different personalities. It was too much. It was just too messy. And I ultimately didn't enjoy it. And it looks like the public agreed with me.
What is he holding, by the way? I can't even... What is that?
That's the Red Hood from when he was in the Red Hood gang.
Oh, okay.
From that version of the origin. All right, next up, new X-Men number 114. E is for Extinction Part 1. We all know this to be when they got what I call the puffy jackets. Also, it is the Grant Morrison run. I had to beat off 3 Jokers. That's a shirt. That is a shirt.
I'm kind of torn if I like the kind of silhouette action or no. I will rate it. It's interesting to see. It's nice to see books actually going up raw. They're going down graded, but the raw books are going up, so that's cool. I'm gonna give it. I do kind of like how some of the X's on their hands are standing out, so I'm actually gonna give it a 3.
Remember, you're not just judging it by the cover. You're judging it.
That's all I know. I haven't read it.
Yeah. Okay. So then that's it. If you're judging by the cover, good. So having read it, I'm giving it a 4 because it's definitely a good part of X-Men lore. Plus, this is where like Emma starts to become a 3-dimensional person. We had to get there. We had to get there eventually.
Yeah, I wish I could write the story, but if I haven't read it, then I got to go by what I see on the cover.
See, more for you to go find when you're filling a box. All right, next up, Avengers Twilight number 2. All of them had an Alex Ross cover. And Chip Zdarsky, Daniel Kuna, probable future Avengers story, rated or hated?
Haven't read it. And that's going to be the case of a lot of this is modern, just for the record. I'm not so much a modern guy. I've got Hulk modern, a little bit of Spider-Man modern. Everything else is not so much modern. By modern, I mean under 2000, that modern. But I do like this cover. I prefer this Alex Ross cover very much so over the first one. I'm going to give it a... I don't like the lights on his waist. Maybe I'm just being too picky. I'm going to go with 3.5.
Okay. I'm going with a complete 4 because I read this series and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. A lot of people were comparing it to a Kingdom Come scenario. I felt like they were comparing it to a Kingdom Come scenario because they don't know any better, whatever. But yes, it's a probable future story. There are many probable future stories, but this one really stuck its own unique landing, and I love that. Highly recommend. Totally check it out.
I did read Kingdom Come, and
yeah. So I'm not going to put this at Kingdom. I mean, there are parallels. I'm not going to deny that, but like, it's definitely a worthy read. There's some stuff where like, why would that have happened? But by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, they really knew how to handle this story. Like they did a nice job. At number 5, I hope I don't have to speak too much for this. Ultimate Spider-Man #1 from 2024.
Wow, there was. That's the $100 book. Don't have it. Haven't read it. It's Spidey. It's a nice shot of Spidey, so I have to go by the cover alone. This is like a classic Spider-Man cover. It's not doing anything crazy, but it's giving us, Spidey slinging that web. I'll give it a 4.
I have read it. I have all the covers. I have one of them slabbed. I really like this book. I've enjoyed the series. I've enjoyed what they're doing with Ultimates. I give it a 4 all day. And look at I Have Comic Issues. Awesome cover. Yay. I hope we're talking about the right awesome cover. Let me just be sure. The best part of the Ultimate Universe is Ultimate Spider-Man. Yes, that is 100% true. Thank you. Thank you. I have Comic Issue. Oh, Kilted Corey. Thank you for that.
I want you guys to think I don't read anything. I have read Ultimate Spider-Man 1 through 133, the original run, and love that series. I think that's underrated.
Because they just dismantled that universe. That's why.
Yeah.
The only good that came out of the universe was that storyline and Miles, and then everything else just turned to a puddle of poo.
Yep.
I'm looking at you, Jeff Loeb. Anyhow, next up at number 4, Ultimate Universe #1.
Shockingly, I haven't read it. This is a busy cover.
It is.
And that's probably my biggest knock is sometimes like Sif is it was a little hard pulling Sif out of the art there. I think there's a little too much going on. So because of that, I'm not in love with it. I'm going to give it a 2.5.
All right. I still enjoy this story. This is not the best cover. There are obviously variant covers to this that are way better. I'm still giving it a 3. I think Ultimate's got the shakiest start out of this, but at the end, I'm enjoying this and Spider-Man the most out of the Ultimate stories. At number 3, Afterburn. Red Fox. I still don't even remember what this is. The lone indie title to make the top 10 in 2024, Afterburn #1 from Red 5 Publishing. The book gained heat after it was announced that Samuel L. Jackson and Dave Bautista would be joining Gerard Butler in a feature film. And then we never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh my gosh. Not in love with the artwork. Obviously, I haven't read it because I haven't heard of it. I'm actually going to put this. I hated it. Especially now that you told me the story that we were going to have those actors together and it never even occurred. Now I hate it even more. So yeah, hated it.
Actually, it did occur.
Oh, did?
Yeah, it did. Afterburn, Dave Bautista, Olga, Kirk Leon, and Samuel L. Jackson. The Apocalypse isn't for everyone. You can buy it on DVD for $12 on Amazon. Never heard of this movie. The movie obviously wasn't great. There's only 12 reviews on Amazon for this movie, which is hilarious. I don't even know. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, last year.
Yeah. Wow, and wow. Yeah, so we only got 2 of those actors in this movie. The budget was $56 million. It only made $832,000 at the box office.
It's on MGM Plus. I don't have MGM Plus.
Yeah. Man. Wow. Well, anyhow, I'm going to hate it because obviously it made it. The movie made it to existence. It just did not fire on all cylinders.
Learned something today.
Looks like a $94 bin book, and you would be right. Oh, good morning, Velvet J. All right, so yeah, we're right to hate this one. Moving on, Black Panther #1, and this is the Boss Logic variant featuring the Ultimates version of Aurora. let's see. This had a massive hit with the Ultimate Spider-Man, where we're experiencing similar results with Black Panther. We tracked 139 copies sold of the Boss Logic version at the time. Interest has waned on Ultimate Black Panther, and prices are down. Raw prices today are as low as $6, which is basically cover price. And there was a recent sale of $25 for a CGC 9.8. Rated or hated, sir?
So this goes to hate it for me, not because the artwork is bad, because it's called Ultimate Black Panther, and he's nowhere to be found on the cover. And I am one of those that.
Well, this is not the A cover. This is not the A cover.
Oh no, I know it's a variant, but still, there's those weird variants where even though she's there, I think he should be there somewhere. So I just have to go by just the cover, my own personal tastes. I hate it, but by all means, rate it if you like it.
I mean, I'm still giving it a 4 because it's a beautiful cover, and I enjoyed the book. In the number 1 spot is Ultimate Black Panther #1, the A cover. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the number 1 spot belonged to cover A of Ultimate Black Panther 1. The book was on fire. There were even sales of up to $150 for a 9.8. Prices are down. A near mint copy today can go for $16, while a graded copy can be found for $50 or less. Rated or hated?
I do like that cover, and Black Panther kind of has that. I'm about to lay the smack down. You're looking just. I like it. I didn't know his ultimate uniform looked like that, so it's throwing me off a little bit. But I like what's going on with the moon in the back. I'll give it a 4.
Well, that's the Khonshu thing happening in the background. Like Black Panther and the Fist of Khonshu go at it throughout this entire series.
Okay. Then now knowing that, I'll still go to 4.5, but I like that cover. That's cool.
Yeah, I like it. For me, I'm just gonna go 4 all the way. I'm teetering on 5, but I realize this book is not for everybody. And that was rated or hated, folks, which is great. Now we get back to your homework, sir. It's time for. I still don't have an image for it, but it's time for shelf pleasure.
So is this the one book I picked up recently in the last few months that I've been wanting? Or
yes, absolutely, yes. By the way, you weren't limited to the last month. It's just something you really wanted.
It was something I wanted to pick up in the last 2 months. This is a book that, and I still need to get one more variant that I never see at stores or shows. And this is something I could buy online, but I only usually buy certain things online. If it's a book that's not a Grail or I don't know where I'm going with this. I like The Hunt. And finding this in The Hunt at my LCS was cool. I'm gonna have to book a little further back because this one's is a little bit of a mature cover. There's no nudity, but her shirt's this is Gen 13 #1.
Wow.
Lace cover, and this is one that I've known about for ages, and I do like Gen 13, especially the J. Scott Campbell run. I was like, I've always seen this book, but I never saw it like at comic stores or shows. It's just I don't know if the print run this is not very high. And I saw it in my LCS, and I was like, you know what? I've wanted this book. I want to get every variant for Gen 13 at some point from Volume 2, and the Rolling Stone cover is the one I'm missing, which is it's an homage to Janet Jackson when she posed and somebody was, covering her like this. It's like, all right, I got that one. There's like a platinum one, so grab this. So that was my big pickup of a book that I've wanted for a long time. Not a big key, but just something that the teenager in me wanted and finally got.
That's great. So my recent pickup of one I really just wanted for no particular reason. I have always loved this X-Men cover, and I picked up 4 CGC books for $29 a piece after shipping. Like I broke it down and it came out to $29 a piece. I'm very happy. But I have always loved this cover, especially I love covers that interact with the trade dress, and it's Uncanny X-Men 176. I just love that Cyclops is blasting the logo. There's tentacles choking him out. I mean, it's just got everything that I want in a cover. And no, but in all seriousness, I love action covers. I hate boring, like, oh, look, it's a really pretty picture of Wonder Woman. Like, it's fine. Like, I enjoy that, but like, I'm like, don't make that a 1 in 25. Like, that's not what I'm going to be there for. But I love this. I feel this ranks high for me in like fantastic covers, And it was a solid issue to my recollection. So that was my shelf pleasure this week. And one day when I'm really fancy, I'll actually reach up the shelf. It's going to be great.
One day maybe I'll have a shelf instead of boring boxes. Not, I got group behind me. I got group, but just boxes.
Well, you could get one of those things to hang on the edge of those boxes, so like there's an actual comic sitting in them. I can't remember what that's called, but I know they exist.
I think I know what you're talking about.
All right, bringing us to our final segment, sir. Your ultimate homework this weekend.
Alrighty, so I kind of stuck with the collecting versus investing thing for my homework. I'm like, what books do I have that maybe I have too many copies of, but I just keep them because I love them? Some of these books maybe I could flip or do something with, but I just don't do it because I prefer to own the book. So the first one up, anybody know this one?
Right, yes. I know.
Hold on.
Peter, nice to see you, by the way. Good to see you.
Hold on.
I'm ready. Are they all going to be Rye and Rye in the future for us?
Everything I'm pulling out is right now. I don't know if this displays well or if you can tell on camera. This is 42 copies of Rye number 0.
What possessed you? Like, did Legion of Comics get in your head because he has a million copies of Shark number 1?
I don't know what happened, but I would, whenever I found up for like $3, I would just keep buying them and buying them and buying them. So I've got 42 copies. I'm sure I could get some of these graded at a 9.8 and flip it, but I don't have any desire to do that.
Yeah. By the way, at this point in time, I do not feel like it would be a flip season.
No.
I would absolutely wait.
Yeah, not a book. I mean, not a book to flip right now, but you kind of see the point. Like, I'm working my way to 50. I actually have 43 kited corgi. I have the 42 I showed you plus one that's in one of my PC boxes. This came out of one of my 3 dupe boxes. So the following books I think are going to have a little more flippability or had flippability. And the first one is a prime example. I have 2 copies. I can move on from one, especially with the movie being announced in Supergirl. But I was like, you know what? I just love Lobo. He's my favorite DC villain. Love it when he fights Superman. One of my first Superman comics was 463 or 464 when Superman fights Lobo, and I love that fight. Lobo's drunk during it and gets tricked. Spoiler. And yeah, this is a book that I just want to hold on to him.
So good. I always enjoyed Superman and Lobo fights. Of course, now Lobo is, I don't know. It depends on the week and who's writing him on what side of things Lobo's on.
Yes, that is signed by Mick Foley.
Nice.
That's Daphne Sugina from Spaceballs. Met her. She was really cool. Got to talk to her for like 5 minutes at Terrificon. It was last year. Yes. And up above it, you can only see his crotch. It's Tito Santana. So this would have been a book to try to flip last year or a year and a half. Again, didn't want to move on from it. I have 4 of these. Do I need 4? No, but this is the way I collect. Yeah, I love first appearances, and I just have a hard time parting from them. Yes, Brian, eventually that isn't the plan. When the channel became monetized, I was like, I want to do a comic room tour. Just haven't had the time to script it out a little bit and get the room set up, because I do want to have some comics out so you're just not seeing box upon box upon box. Next book would have been a book to flip a few years ago, especially since tour newsstands. This is, again, just, I love,
And their newsstands, Carnage, baby, Carnage.
Yes, except for the last one's a direct.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a direct. Yeah. I mean, yes, I don't want to let anything go.
Yeah, I have that problem too. Kilted Corgi, we won't judge. No, many of us don't have room to judge. I certainly don't.
And the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
I can't part with them. Tour Newsies.
How did you acquire them?
So remember at the start of the stream, I said I was buying collections left and right in Virginia?
Yes.
More often than not, there would occasionally be an Amazing Spider-Man 300 in there. So 1 I bought, 1 was trade, and 3 came in the collection. But I should trade one. I mean, I think I have at least 190 contender in here. It would make sense to grade it and then trade it or sell it, but I don't want to. And the thing too is, since we're talking about investing versus, collecting, I have nothing against people that are doing this to make money off of it. If you can do this for a full-time job, you do you. The one thing that I don't like, and this happened more during the pandemic than anything, is when people were grading everything. Well, then there's that whole notion that a graded book is more valuable. Maybe on big keys, big grails, but for books that are a modern book from like the 80s that's graded a 6, buy that raw. Why? There's stuff getting graded that should not have been. The thing is, why do
Well, here's one thing. The CGC registry, right, makes you very competitive. So if you have the highest graded complete run of the champions, for instance, right?
Right.
That gets you a premium status. It makes you eligible for a prize at the end of the year. Okay. So yes, you're right. I feel like people are grading everything left and right in a very cavalier manner. Absolutely. But the fact that there are other reasons, I completely understand.
In the end, though, my opinion, take it for what you will, for comics to survive and continue to thrive, we need more collectors, because the whole point of a comic in the end is to read the comic. I wanted to read Lobo's first appearance. If I bought this graded, I've now bought a piece of art, which art is nice too, when I can't read it once in a slab, which that's the one advantage sports card collectors have maybe over us, is that they just need the front and back of the card. They need the picture of the player, and they want the stats. They can see that. With the comic, we lose everything that's in between the cover when it's graded.
In the meantime, I have my reader copies, and I have what I consider trophies. Like I consider this my championship of collecting.
CGC charges, Matt, it depends on the book. Modern books have a flat rate. If you get into grails, I think it's 4% of fair market value. So if you have a really expensive book, it can get really pricey to grade books. And we're talking thousands of dollars.
No, but they do have one interesting flat rate, but it only applies. You're right. If it's a big book, and that's why some people use Heritage, right? If you go through Heritage, they're gonna handle grading and everything and make a hoopla out of it. They'll sell it. You get the bulk of the money, and then of course CGC is paid. They're paid, and then you get your remainder.
Peter, a couple things off Heritage. Heritage is okay. I mean, some people don't like it. They're like, "What about the buyer's premium?" I'm like, look, the buyer's premium is part of your final price. If you're getting a good deal, you're getting a good deal, no matter what the buyer's premium is.
I'm leaning into PSA. Now, PSA, still new, a fabulous slab. I hate the label. It's hideous. I'm still mad about it. But they are starting to build their own registry, which is why, because if you don't build that community strength, you will never be able to properly compete with CGC.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, are all of them corporate monstrosities, soulless entities? Pretty much. But does that mean that the real humans aren't working there? No, there's real humans working there. But at this point, like, I don't give a damn. Like I have my reasons for why I want to do things, but ultimately, I think I have many. I can't. I have so many opinions about this whole thing. Do what you want, folks. Collect what you love. I just happen to like the CGC label. I actually love the most current CBCS label. That is my favorite label. The little arrow with your grade, I think, is wonderful. But that's it. It's just too bad for me.
You said the most important thing out of everything we've talked about today is collect what you love. If you love CGC graded books only or CBCS, hell, maybe you like PGX, whatever it is, in the end, it's your collection. Do what makes you happy. I just, I do think that we need a little more collecting than investing for our hobby to continue. Or I could be wrong. I mean, who the heck knows? I just don't want to see what's happened in the last 4 years where we see a giant boom and then just a massive, where you have a lot of people coming into the hobby trying to make a buck and then leave the hobby. And there's been so many times, Cliff, where I was watching a book on, let's say, eBay, and I'd see the high bidder win the book for a big book for $10,000. I'm like, okay. The next day, that same book is back on there for $20K. I'm like, dude, you just won the book at the highest bid. You really think you're going to flip that for 20 the next day? Come on, don't turn our hobby into
no, because what they do is they just leave it there until the day comes. Yeah. Which of course I don't agree with. Now, the person who bought Action Comics one, I think they just wanted it for, to be like, I'm the one who owns it, right? They want to have the prestige.
Yeah.
the Superman #1, I know that guy like didn't relist it, but basically put it out there. If anybody's gonna want this from me, you better expect to pay double. But like he didn't relist it. He just said you better expect to pay more to make it worth my time, basically. It's really funny. I met a gentleman and his son, and they have they have Action 1, Superman 1, Detective 27. It is Detective 27, right?
Yes, Detective 27's first Batman.
Right. They have all these, but they're all in 1.0, 1.5, 1.8. And I'm just like, I'm like, God bless you guys. And their Action 1 is a 0.5 Frankenstein.
It's a purple label?
No, it's a blue 0.5 because they wanted the blue label, right? But it is a back cover, a found back cover, a found front cover, a found interior, a new spine that a restoration company did the spine for them and stapled together to reform Action 1. So it looks
a blue label
because you can ask for a blue label. So if they went for a restoration label, they would have gotten higher than a 0.5, but they insisted on getting a blue label and they ended up with a 0.5.
So I don't know. So you can ask CGC, give me the restored grade or give me a blue label of.
Yes, whatever it boils down to, give me the blue label. Yes.
I did not know that was an option.
Yeah, because it was only restoration, right? So there's a ton of restoration notes when you scan the book, when you scan the little barcode, there's a ton of restoration notes. But it's a 0.5 and it looks nice. You know, the cover is complete, but not perfect, right? But the book is complete, right? And there was restoration and it's a Frankenstein, but it's together. And I really like that.
Me and my friend have a saying, beat but complete.
Yeah. UV protection. So yeah, the PSA, this is not only is it super strong, I can hit an intruder with this. It's the UV coating is in it. So you have UV protection right off the bat.
Somebody just did research on that. And I believe PSA came up really good for UV protection and CGC did not come up so good. No, they
did not. No, in fact, you can buy, hey, on BCW, but you can buy the UV protectors for the regular slabs. All right. So any final questions from anyone in the chat? This is your time. This is your moment.
If you haven't subscribed to FillABoxComics and you enjoyed learning about how I collect or my stories sound interesting, would love to see you on the channel. I have a lot of fun over there. It's I don't go live over there. It's just a heads up. It's my second channel. I allot as much time as I can to the channel, but I do at least one video a week. And I really enjoy just, zipping around New England, finding new comic spots, or even my tried and true spots, filling a box or finding great deals. A good thing, I'm becoming friends with a lot of dealers that have overstock. They're like, look, I want to blow this out. You want to come look at it? That happened last week with a dealer. He's like, hey, want to check this out? And I got a great deal. So it's been a fun journey and looking forward to what's going to happen with the channel over the next year, 2, 3, 5, and the comic hobby. The MCU is kind of down right now. Are they going to have a resurgence? And I think we peaked with the Avengers storyline. I mean, that was a 10-year arc. So we'll think.
For a fun morning. Appreciate you guys. You guys are great. You can find Rich over on Instagram at FillABoxComics, and same thing for your YouTube, correct?
FillABoxComics, yep.
Yes, because I know I mess these things up more often than I like.
Literally just FillABoxComics, which actually, real quick, the origin of FillABoxComics came from my first video was a That's Entertainment sale in Worcester, Massachusetts. I went there with my girlfriend and lunch money, and another buddy showed up. And they were blowing out overstock. And when we went there, we thought it was going to be overstock, 90s Image, 90s Valiant, that type of stuff. Because it was fill a short box for $17.50, 2 short boxes for $35, or a long box. I went with the short box. It wasn't that stuff. There was some Silver Age stuff, a lot of Bronze Age. It was the best fill-a-box sale I've ever been to. And also the most claustrophobic, because that room probably should have held only 20 people. And we had 40 to 50 people in there. It would have been a fire hazard for sure if the fire chief walked by. He would have kicked us all out. It was literally arm to arm. You could barely move. I did not like that. But the sale itself was incredible. If it wasn't, I would have filled 4 boxes instead of 2. But it just ended up being the two. That's the first video on the channel, and that was a absolutely crazy sale with the biggest book I saw somebody holding. Not me getting it, not lunch money, but I did see somebody standing there with a Tales to Astonish 90, which is the first appearance of Abomination. So to find that in a FillABox sale, and the boxes were only $35 for 2 shorts, that's a grand slam.
It is. I can't. I'm losing I'm out of my mind that I wasn't there. And also at Terrificon this year, I became a Wagoneer. I now have the little wagon that you drag behind you.
You got a wagon? Aww.
Yeah. I used to find them so obnoxious, and that went out the fucking door. I carried one short box from the floor all the way out to the parking lot, and I was breathing. I was panting, the heat, the sweating. I was miserable, and I saw this old man coming back from his car with his black little wagon. He's like, and I'm like, where'd you get that? He's like, I got mine at Walmart. I got in the car. I went straight to Walmart, came back with it, went back inside with it, went back to Gary's booth. He's like, where'd you go? I was like, I had to go to the car and then to Walmart to get this wagon so I could finish filling up a box. So I did. So I think I spent like $225, filled 3 boxes, and then I ran out of everything. Ran out of cards, debit, credit. All I had was a little bit of cash left, so I used that to buy a few remaining books.
Nice. Well done. Filled 3 boxes.
3 boxes and then some stuff. My God, Rich, it was really a great time. I'm glad everyone really enjoyed the day. It's Sunday for those of us in the United States, so go out, enjoy your day, have a wonderful time, and remember, everybody, read your comics, and I love you. Peace until next.